Porky. Roll 'em.
Porky, even in his starring period in the 30s, in the late 30s, they were always looking for a character to go with him. So they teamed him up with some wacky dogs. They had a character named Gabby Goat.
Daffy.
When they hit upon Daffy Duck, they tried to put them together as many times as they could, and they did. What happened was, though, Daffy's star rose. Daffy became a star of many, many cartoons, and then Porky ultimately became either the hunter of Daffy in some of the cartoons, or he became his sidekick. Porky was always there to bring some common sense into this chaotic world that Daffy Duck had created.
Porky and Daffy work in a lot of different ways, actually, interestingly, different ways with different directors. You know, Bob McKimson did a lot of Porky Daffy cartoons where he kind of used the nutty Daffy and the kind of prissy Porky.
I'm gonna phone the authorities.
That was a nice contrast between their two personalities. Chuck went ahead and used Porky and Daffy, as in Robin Hood Daffy and Deduce You Say, with Porky being the cool observer of Daffy's manic attempts to prove himself either a great detective or Robin Hood or whatever else he was attempting to prove he was.
My all-time favorite is Robin Hood Daffy, and I think that the scene with Porky and Daffy with the buck and a quarter staff is one of the funniest pieces of animation ever done.
Actually, it's the buck and a quarter staff, but I'm not telling him that.
By the early 50s, there was a real science fiction craze going on in the country, and all of this science fiction hocus pocus mumbo jumbo was ripe for parody.
The Daffy Porky team seemed to work quite well. So I guess Chuck went ahead and did Duck Rogers of the 24th and a half century.
I'll see what the little stinker is up to on my super video detecto set.
It was a great showcase from Maurice Noble and his designs. Chuck let him go, coming up with wild layouts, wild sci-fi designs, a lot of it based on Planet X, where everything on the planet, the trees and the clouds and the rocks are all shaped like a big X. Duck Dodgers became a cult classic, particularly in the 1970s when there was a science fiction revival. That cartoon was a big favorite of George Lucas's, and he ran Duck Dodgers as a short subject with Star Wars in San Francisco after it was a hit and it had been playing for a few months. That actually led to Warner Brothers commissioning Chuck Jones to make a sequel film, Duck Dodgers and the Return of the 24th and a half century.
Oh, goody! My Illudium Q-36 explosive space modulator.
Marvin Martian had been in a few Bugs Bunny cartoons before this, but by this point they had the character honed. They already got all the bugs out of Marvin Martian, and it was a perfect villain for Daffy Duck to encounter.
Little does he realize that I have on my disintegration-proof vest. You may fire when ready, Grizzly.
Marvin's one of those few characters, like the Tasmanian Devil and the Singing Frog, who appeared in very, very few cartoons, but made such an impact that they're more famous today than they were in the day these cartoons were made.
This planet is hereby claimed for the Earth in the name of Duck Dodgers in the 24th and a half century. It'll be a big deal.